Brakevans are burdened with one of the biggest responsibilities on the island. With how notoriously difficult trucks can be, especially on Sodor, a brakevan is an invaluable safety net for the engines on a heavy train. Placing such a large amount of trust on them makes them trustworthy friends on the island. All the same, not everyone is capable of handling such pressure, so only certain brakevans are reserved for long trains. A new brakevan had arrived on the island, to which James would have the pleasure of meeting one morning.
Hello there. I've never seen a brakevan like you around here before.
Oh, I'm new.
The brakevan slightly stumbled as he emitted the words.
We haven't had a new one of those for a while, it seems.
Well, I'm workshop new.
Most impressive. In any case, would you mind riding with me on the next one?
I wouldn't mind. I'll certainly do my best, but it may be difficult. Oof!
Fan-dabby-dozy.
James hastily puffed out of the yards with Bruno coupled up, just as the Fat Controller headed over to the yards.
Ah, Bruno, there you are. Oh, dear.
The Fat Controller looked out in horror as he saw James taking Bruno out of the siding and away on James's train.
I do hope he'll be all right. Having not had his briefing, his last owner said he's bound to have teething troubles.
Come along. Tardiness is not my colour.
Yeah, neither is red.
Well, laugh at this.
Ooh. 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 You're getting it now.
Just things are a little different this time, lads. Just ask my new brakevan.
New, you say? We may be able to have some fun with this one.
James made his way along the main line, unaware of the plotting that was conjuring behind him. Bruno overheard the trucks and throughout the journey tried calling out to James.
Bruno, that's the third time you've tried talking to me. What's wrong?
Oh, the trucks. They are...
Irritating? Don't worry. You'll gain some thick skin against them in no time.
But Bruno wasn't so sure. Presently, they reached the dreaded Gordon's Hill.
This is a bit steep, isn't it?
No steeper than Licky. I've heard horror stories of that.
You made a 3.2 kilometre with a gradient of 1 in 37.7.
Well, I'm sure that's right. How on earth did you know that?
The Believe me, if it involves numbers and statistics, nothing gets past Bruno. Now come on, mate, just keep her steady.
Will do, Alex.
But the trucks had other ideas.
The usual routine, lads.
The trucks screeched on their brakes as James groaned knowingly, especially since Gordon's hill was slippery because of the ice, and Bruno winced under the sudden strain.
Very clever. But can you handle this?
The trucks quickly released their brakes as James lurched forward over the crescent and started sliding rapidly down the other side of the hill.
Why does this always have to happen to me?
James waited for Bruno to start braking, but unbeknownst to him, Bruno was starting to panic, not knowing what to do. His guard found his brakes stiff to apply.
Nothing can stop us now. Oi! What's going on? Are we losing momentum?
The trucks looked back to see a few of them at the back applying their brakes.
What are you doing, idiots? Give the new brakevan brake, guys. Put aside, he is really struggling. I know I normally don't care, but I feel kind of bad for this one. Hold back, folks. Nothing to see here.
Bruno! What was that? The trucks had to do the work for you. Rest assured, the Fat Controller will hear about this.
As indeed he did.
It's my fault, Bruno.
What?
I should have given you your briefing before you were allowed to set out on a train.
He's a new brakevan, sir. He should be able to handle trains like that in his sleep.
As for you, James, I would greatly appreciate it if next time you could consult me before taking out a new brakevan.
With all due respect, sir, why are you defending him?
It's out of your concern, James.
So apparently me nearly crashing because of this faulty brakevan is none of my concern.
That is enough, James.
Bruno closed his eyes as James went silent. He had never heard so much anger in the Fat Controller's voice.
I shall speak to you later, James.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
James was still confused as he puffed away. The Fat Controller then turned to Bruno.
Apologies for raising my voice. It's just these engines sometimes.
It's alright, sir. I don't mind. We always knew that it was always going to be a problem.
No need to be so cryptic. My son has also got autism. It's absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. Nobody should ever be made to feel faulty for something they cannot help. Now I'll give you the rest of the day off, and then tomorrow we'll start again.
Yes, sir.
Bruno was placed in a siding near Tidmouth for the rest of the afternoon. As he sat, his eyes never strayed from his buffers. He felt shaken and ashamed after what had happened. As time went on, he heard the slow puffing of an engine backing down next to him. It was Edward.
Why, hello there. Bruno, is it?
Yes, that is correct. You are Edward, the number 2 engine, who loosened his set of bogey wheels, which landed in a field of cabbages.
Good knowledge. I had nearly forgotten about that.
My garden, I read the Railway series. I can remember all 42 books, and what order each story is in.
Well, if I'm in need of an obscure fact of the books, I know now who I need to go to.
Hopefully not when you need a brakevan for a very heavy train.
But Edward did not see the funny side of Bruno's comment.
I've heard about what happened earlier. I'm honestly very angry at James for being so inconsiderate.
Because I'm autistic.
No, honestly no. Any new brake fan would find being placed on a train that size as their first outing intimidating. Not to mention that disgusting comment he made afterwards. I wish I was there instead of the fat controller giving him a piece of my mind.
I had no idea you were so passionate about it.
There is a reason, Bruno. I have autism myself.
You do?
Well, let's just say it affects me a lot less than you.
Bruno looked down at his buffers once more as Edward continued.
It was a different time when I was working. Nobody understood what it meant, or what it even was. If you'll remember in the first book, I'm depicted as being stuck in the shed because the others were bigger and stronger than me. It is true, I was struggling with the work, but not because of my age or even my size. There was honestly not that much business back then. It was how many responsibilities I found myself with that became too overwhelming. I am a versatile engine, but so many jobs at once became quite a lot for me mentally. So I spoke to the fat director about it, and it was decided I should be taken out of regular service for a while. But then I got bored of it. The driver agreed to take me out again.
Bruno's eyes widened in shock.
However, once I went out again, I started with trains such as smaller excursions, as well as shunting. Shunting was always my favorite, as there was something very calming about stimulating my senses in that way, and what's more, I managed to make a routine of it. Now, of course, I was oblivious to it back then. But then, a few years ago, my driver came to me with a friend who was a psychologist. He analyzed some of my traits, and he gave me a minor diagnosis of autistic spectrum disorder, or ASD.
Do the others know about this?
Oh, goodness, no. It's not that big of a deal, really. I don't think they'd see me as any differently if I did or didn't tell them.
But what have you got to lose by telling them? You've proven many times in the past how useful you are. With how many times I mess up, I even wonder how I truly deserve to be called a brakevan.
Edward smiled.
So, you don't think you're a proper brakevan, do you? Well, why don't we put that to the test?
How do you mean?
Come with me.
Edward coupled up to Bruno, and with Bruno and his guard's consent, they set off. They went along the main line. But now without the pressure of managing a heavy train being burdened upon him, he could take in the beautiful atmosphere the main line had to offer. Presently, they reached Gordon's Hill.
Let's have a run at it, Bruno.
I don't know if I can, Edward. I messed up the first time. Who's to say?
Listen to me, Bruno. Take a deep breath. And keep going.
Bruno yelped as he was being dragged up the gradient. He closed his eyes, waiting for it to be over, as he waited for the inevitable sheer drop on the other side.
Now get ready, Bruno. It will be frightening, but it will be over soon.
Eventually, they reached the bottom of the hill, and they did not stop until they reached Marin Station. Bruno felt a little queasy, but he noticed something.
I'm alright! I made it! I just kept going and I did it!
You seem to have gotten the objective of the exercise then.
Which was?
Bruno, there are times when life will be scary, and it seems you are not able to handle it. But those mistakes don't define you. You'll learn to cope with them over time.
But my whole life, I've always been thought as someone who needs extra guidance. But if that's not the case, then what am I?
You are young, Bruno. You will find your place in time. And listen, don't focus on what others see or saw in you, because they will never know the full story. Only you know who you are.
Bruno stopped and thought about Edward's words. Today, he had not only found a newfound friend, but a newfound respect for himself.
Edward? Can I ask you something?
Of course, Bruno. What is it?
Bruno then explained his idea to Edward, and then his driver explained to the Fat Controller. Nowadays, Edward helps Bruno, and they work together in jobs no matter what. Edward is very gentle with Bruno, and always takes his time to look out for him.
You alright back there, Bruno?
I am ready, Edward.
Now, these trucks are troublesome, so we'll need some bumping to put them in order.
Go for it, Edward. I can handle it.
Confidence? From you? Oh, pull the other wheel.
Bruno smiled. He knew he had a good friend in Edward. All the engines were very kind and giving towards the brakevan, and James apologised for his rudeness towards him. Bruno couldn't be any happier, knowing he was now a part of the Fat Controller's rail lane.